Hello there, you wonderful listeners. His name is Aaron, and he has a poster of Uncharted 2 above his bed.
And he's Tommy, and he's a Libra who likes to take long walks on the beach.
Oh, mine was true, just like yours. And this is the Super Pod Saga. Confetti, air horns, everything.
Yeah. Bang, 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 bang.
Episode 16. This is the 16th episode of this. That's 8 times 2.
My God, soon we'll have more episodes than Law and Order. Any Law and Order.
Any day now.
Yeah, any day.
That's our main competition is Law and Order. I don't know if listeners know that, but it is.
Which one is Ice-T on? Is he on NCIS or Law and Order?
SVU? I don't know.
All right, we're coming for you, Ice-T.
He's a funny guy on Twitter. He's got some good tweets.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
But we're not here to talk about Ice-T, the actor, rapper, or the drink. We're here to talk about video games. And this week was my pick, and I was kind of not feeling very original. So I was like, let's talk about our favorite / best game from every console that we've played, if that makes sense. Like, everyone's seen those lists of like top 100 games on each console or whatever, but I thought it'd be special for us to pick one game that is our favorite or that we think is the best, because we have different perspectives, and I think that's cool.
That's
right?
true.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we kind of fill in the gaps of each other's, I guess, because I play more RPGs and yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but yeah.
No, I agree. I when we last year December we made like a list of our top 10 games of the year, and we didn't have a single game in common in our top 10s. That tells how different of perspectives we have. So yeah, I guess I'll start off. I made a list going back like chronologically, like earliest consoles that I owned, and I'm going to try and emphasize consoles that I owned and had like a big experience over. But if we need to, or if we want to, I can talk about like consoles I had less experience with. But
that's fine. That's what I prioritized, was consoles I owned and played games and stuff. So yeah, that should be fine.
Yeah. So my first pick is the original Nintendo. That was the first console that my parents owned, and I don't remember most of the games that we had, but I mean, I'd have to say the best / the one I played the most was Super Mario Brothers.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, oh yeah.
It's tough to talk about Super Mario Brothers because everyone's played it in the world, and like, it's tougher to talk about the original because it's just so old at this point. It's like coming up on 40 years old, which is insane.
Holy cow.
And
that is,
it's tough to like give perspective on that. I had some coworkers who were teenagers, and they sent like a meme that was like, old people today thought these graphics were good, and it was GoldenEye 007, and I was like, I thought graphics before that were good. Like I sent a picture of it, and it's tough to look at the original Super Mario Bros. And be like, this was fun, this was the best.
Sometimes nowadays, whenever I try to go back and play some other NES games, it's kind of hard for me anyway to get into them.
Me too.
I'm sure for other people who actually grew up with those, it's probably super easy, but I just cannot do it.
I think the biggest memory I have for Super Mario Bros. Is learning about the warp room, because playing it as a kid, like, you might accidentally discover that on your own, but for the most part, it's go from left to right through the 4 levels in the 8 worlds, stomping enemies, and hearing that like in World 1, 2, if you stomp through the ceiling, run across, and jump over everything, you'll find a warp room that lets you skip to a different world. In my head, I'm like, that's not real. There's no way that's real. That's totally fake. And then it exists. And just that they thought to put that kind of secret in a video game back then, I think was something really special.
That is really cool. I wish I could say the same about my pick. Damn it.
Well, what's your pick? Is it Pong? Old man?
Oh, shit. We're the same age, I'm pretty sure. But,
we are.
No, my pick was Tetris, and this one we played a good bunch of, because when my mom first met my stepdad, he had Tetris and Super Mario Bros. 3, and played a lot of Tetris because I sucked at Super Mario Bros. 3,
Hmm.
and I still stuck at Tetris back then. But then, um, back in my old job, it was just so unbelievably slow. And this was back in the days where you had to work in the office; you didn't have the option of working at home.
Yeah.
And there was this JavaWare based NES platformer, like the one that I sent you the other day, and
Uh-huh.
I would just play stupid amounts of Tetris at work, and me and a bunch of other coworkers would try to get the highest top score at the end of the day. And yeah, Tetris is just fun.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think Tetris is the most perfect video game. Um, I have a question for you. Do you have thoughts on Super Mario Brothers 3? Because neither of us picked that, and I know that's like the typical pick for best NES game.
Yeah, I enjoy Super Mario Bros. 3 quite a bit. I played through the first two worlds, not like quite a bit. I've never played beyond that because I always get mad and quit. But
Yeah, I
yeah, it's a pretty good
I
game.
barely played it. I played a ton of Super Mario Bros, Super Mario World, like a bunch of other ones, but I barely played Super Mario 3, and when I play it, I don't get why everyone likes it so much. But again, I'm playing it as an adult. I never played it back then. I'm sure back then going from original Super Mario Brothers to Super Mario Bros 3 was quite a leap.
I can kind of see where the appeal is though, because all the different little pickups you can get, whether it's the leaf or the fireball, or like, there's a lot that was different between that and like I never played a lot of the second Super Mario Bros, but I can see why it might be the next best thing in Super Mario Bros on the NES. Or even I even remember putting up a poll in this one Facebook group I'm in of like what's your favorite 2D Super Mario game, and a lot of people, more people actually voted for Super Mario Bros. 3 than they did Super Mario World, which was
Oh,
kind of
ooh.
insane.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'd say that it's I could see that. I definitely prefer Super Mario World, but that's for a different console. Did you? I didn't. I never owned a Super Nintendo growing up. Did you have one or have a pick for that console?
I had a pick for the console, but I never owned it
Okay, so
the actual game on the SNES.
listeners,
Yeah,
we are not experts on this, so don't judge us for our picks.
but my pick kind of counted because I bought it on the Virtual Console on the 3DS.
That
That
counts.
still counts,
That
right?
counts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So Earthbound. I mean, I
Oh yeah.
before I had a 3DS, I emulated the shit out of it. And yeah, I have it on the 3DS now. It's on the Switch now too, and the Wii U, I suppose, as well. And I've just played it a billion times, and it's just too fun to not play again and again and again.
That's like I consider Earthbound the perfect Aaron game. Like if someone were to ask me what games does Aaron like, I just shove Earthbound in their face.
You'd be right. Yeah, just stuff it into an egg carton and stuff it down their throat.
Hmm.
Earthbound, bitch.
Yeah, and then they'll be choking and they'll be like, "Oh, I get it. Okay, he likes these."
It's so quirky.
The writing. Oh my gosh.
Mr. Saturn's Zoom.
My pick. This is probably the. I swear I have different picks going forward, but my pick is Super Mario World. I had it. I mean, again, I had it on the Game Boy Advance, but that should count, or the Game Boy
That
Color or
counts.
something.
It's
Yeah,
the same game.
and again, it was just it had all these secrets in it. Like I don't know if you remember, but there were a couple of sections in the game where you would hit a block and it would just like snake up and away. And I was like, "Whoa, that's weird. I don't understand what that is." And then again later, I heard or read somewhere that the snake blocks move with the direction you go, so you're supposed to make them go into a staircase to go and find a hidden thing. And
Oh,
my tiny brain was like, there's hidden things in the sky, and I hit this block to make a staircase. This is so cool. And there was the map had like secret exits to maps or levels, so that you could go on different paths through the map. That was super cool. I think just talking about it right now, I think it would be tough to say any game like iterates on itself and improves itself better than the Mario series.
that's true because it's wild that it's such an old series, but with every new game, they keep. I don't know how they do it, how they formulate this shit, but they keep making it better and better and better and better with Odyssey. I mean, they've all gotten damn near perfect review scores, but
Yeah.
Odyssey, people were just like hell yeah, Super Mario Odyssey for president, it's perfect.
they just don't miss. Odyssey, like specifically, like you hear like, okay, we're putting a big focus on Mario's hat in this one. You're gonna be able to use his hat in so many freaking ways. It's gonna blow your mind. And just hearing that, you're like, oh, okay. And then you play it, and it just feels like butter.
It really does. And it's so weird to think that, hey, it's just Mario and he's just jumping and he's just hitting blocks, but like it's always good. It's
Super Mario
always
Galaxy. We're gonna put him in space. We're putting him in space. There's planets and gravity. You're gonna love it, and I loved
hey, guess
it.
what? Sunshine. There's a fucking water pack on your back. You can jump. You can basically triple jump if you bounce off a wall. Sunshine.
Yeah, that's incredible. But yeah, Super Mario World, very good Super Nintendo game. But I didn't have a Super Nintendo, so that's all I can say about that. I want you to just say Nintendo 64 pick or first because mine's going to be the hottest pick of this whole list.
Okay. So I didn't ever actually own an N64. I played a good bunch of my cousins, multiple cousins N64s because I was a PlayStation guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I had Star Fox 64 because now, I mean, I have the remade version on the 3DS. Love it. It's on the Switch now, also on the N64. Love it. I played through that game a bajillion times, and it's always fun.
This is one of those examples because I have only played Star Fox once, and it was on the Super NES Classic, and I played like the first level and was like, I get it, and then I stopped. Oh, should I have said Super Punch Out? No, we'll stick with Super Mario World. Yeah, I got an N64 after I had a GameCube. We got one used, and it came with a bunch of games. I don't remember where we got that from, but the game that I played most, and I think was my favorite on Nintendo 64, was Cruisin' USA.
Oh, that's a good one.
I beat that game. That was the only Nintendo 64 game I probably beat, and I had the racing wheel with it and the foot pedals. So I was actually racing, and it was a lot of fun. It's a fun racing game with lots of action and crazy speed and stuff, and it had a map in the Midwest, so there was lots of corn, and I was like, that's me.
Yeah, we're corn.
I'm that corn. And sorry, go on.
Oh, you can go ahead. I'll add mine later.
Other Nintendo 64 games just didn't click with me. Like I had Super Mario 64, and I know we just talked about how great the Mario games were, but it just didn't click with me with the controls and the instead of it being level based and world based, like just trying to navigate and get a star on the same level over and over again. It just didn't click with me, and I had Turok, which scared the crap out of me. I couldn't play any of the Turoks. I think that was. Oh, there was Ocarina of Time, which I didn't like. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, Cruisin' USA, baby.
I vaguely remember that game. I think it was either the theme song or one of the songs while you're racing. It's just like cruising or something like that.
I honestly don't remember the music, but it could be. I just remember the screeching tires and the turning and the fun times I had with my Nintendo 64 playing Cruisin' USA.
I love the thought of, I'm probably exaggerating, but I love the thought of just like 6-year-old Tommy in this little little racing wheel, little pedals, just.
No, I was in my pre-teens because it was after the GameCube, so I was even better. I had a PlayStation 1 though, and we were a Crash Bandicoot family. We had all the Crash Bandicoots, and so my pick for best PlayStation 1 game is Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped.
Nice, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's the best of the Crash Bandicoot series by far. Like,
yeah, that's the one I played the most too.
Like the first, it just goes so many fun places. Like, just looking back to the first one, where it's like you just go island to island, and everything's basically island or science factory themed, and then Crash Bandicoot Warped is like you're going through time and you're going to be in the Arabia or Arab countries. You're going to be in the medieval times. You're going to the future. It was so cool. That's music that is stuck in my head forever. I can hum any song from those levels.
What was it? I'm trying to think of the theme song. I'm getting it totally wrong.
No.
But
I'm sure it was right.
I remember, like at the title screen too, it was like Crash Bandicoot Warped.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Oh
what
man,
an
I hear it.
awesome
I
game.
hear it in my head.
For for my PS1 pick, I mean, I would like to say the obvious answer because my favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy 9. I'm not gonna do that because I say that for every fucking episode. Uh, Instead, I'm gonna say pretty much any Twisted Metal game,
Ooh,
but to be specific, Twisted Metal 4. Just because
there was
it's just so
there was
well,
4 Twisted Metals on the first PlayStation.
yeah.
Holy crap!
Well, technically 5 because there was also Twisted Metal Small Brawl, but
Small.
yeah,
Bro.
there's 4. And I mean, other people I see have hated all over like 3 and 4 because it's not as good as the first one or something. I'm not 100% sure, but Twisted Metal 4, me whenever I went down to my dad's every other weekend, he would sometimes if he had to work on the weekend, he would drop me and my brother off at our cousin's house, and we would just play Twisted Metal like all day. Um, I remember like all the Rob Zombie and all the other awesome heavy music on there, and you could make your own cards and all the cool characters. And
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
my
that.
my cousins were I wouldn't say they were rich cousins, but they were cool enough to have the multi tap, so we could play 4 people, and it was just awesome. It's great. It's fun
I
time.
it's Twisted Metal was huge back in the PlayStation 1 days. It's
Oh,
I'm not sure if there's another series that has been like as big on just one generation. Because, like you said, there were 5 games that came out for it, and then as I think the PlayStation 2 just had too many good games, it kind of got left
that's
behind.
oh god, yeah, yeah. The PS2, that one was really hard for me to pick one, but I want to hear what yours is first.
The
If
same
we're moving
thing
on, that is.
the same thing happened to Crash Bandicoot. Had tons of games on the PlayStation 1, and then from PlayStation 2 on, it was just like a wet fart. Huh.
I think no, I wouldn't say the same thing for Final Fantasy. I guess because people liked 10
Oh,
and
people
12.
people love Final Fantasy X. I had a coworker at Walmart who didn't even play video games, and he loved Final Fantasy X, which is
Well, hell
wild to
yeah,
me.
that's my best friend right there, man. That's cool. Hell yeah.
He was a cool guy. He was one of the cool ones. Okay, so PlayStation 2. I owned a PlayStation 2. I purchased a PlayStation 2 for one game and one game only, so it has to be
Ooh,
my pick, and it's Rock Band. Which I think is a good pick.
that is a good pick.
Rock Band was like huge because there was the Guitar Heroes back in the day, which was the guitar, and then Rock Band was like play drums, sing song, you do it all, and it was really fun. I had the whole setup, and I would play just in my garage, just play songs all day long, and I had a good time. I miss music genre games so much.
God damn it! If I had not, I should have come over more often in high school. Gosh,
Yeah, we didn't have cars though, and it's
yeah.
rural Iowa's tough. What was I gonna say? Oh, have you seen Rocksmith Plus?
I remember Rocksmith, but I've never heard of the Plus thing.
It hasn't come out yet. It's the
Oh,
newest Rocksmith, and it has over 5,000 songs, but it's subscription based, and you have to own a real
oh,
guitar.
oh yeah, because Rocksmith is the one with the more realistic guitar,
Yeah,
right? Not
yeah,
just the 4 5 frets or whatever. Okay.
yeah. Which is like super appealing to me. If it had a plastic guitar, I would be all over that. But I don't think I can justify buying a real guitar to play a game.
Yeah, that's kind of bogus. So you have to buy the game, and then subscribe to the service.
Yeah,
But then you also have to go out. And is it just guitar? Can you get drums too, or is it just
just
guitar?
guitar.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's
interesting.
dumb.
But back in the day, we paid $100+ for plastic instruments to rock out.
That's true. Because back in that day, you could buy the whole ass bundle, baby. You
Yeah,
get the microphone, the drums,
and
2 guitars.
it came out in October every year. So every year I was like, birthday, gimme, and I got it.
I remember when we first came across, I think it was Rock Band 2 on the PlayStation 2, and it was in a bargain bin, just a game on its own. It was like $9. I was like, Mom, please. And back in those days, you could play Guitar Hero 1 and 2 with just the controller. So I thought,
Yes.
well, shit, I'll play this with the controller too. Fuck it. And then you couldn't play with the controller. You had to have the guitars. And all I had was this I had a USB microphone from something, and I was like, well, maybe I could sing. And sure enough, I sang the 2 songs and I was like, I don't want to play this anymore.
Oh, really? I loved singing.
Yep.
I had to make sure no one was around the garage when I did it, though. But yeah, playing with controllers is a nightmare. I'm not sure how it was for Rock Band. For Guitar Hero, it was the triggers and bumpers, and then A, I want to say, for the 5 notes. Oh,
You're correct.
it was just
And then
felt so uncomfortable.
it actually wasn't bad once you got used to it, unless you're playing Freebird, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, Freebird.
Well, my pick for PS2 was Kingdom Hearts 2. That's the game that I bought a PS2 for.
Basically the same thing as Rock Band.
Exactly, night and day. But Kingdom Hearts, I picked. There's many obvious reasons why I picked that over the first one, or like any other game. But what made me want to really buy that game was because they had in the first game it was just Disney movie worlds, just Aladdin, Hercules, whatever. But in this one they had all sorts of other cool shit. Like they have a Tron world. They had an old like Steamboat Mickey world where it's all black and white.
Ooh.
They had all sorts of cool shit. And then there was like initially you ran through each world once, and then you hit a certain point and you can go through each world again and get extra different keyblades and other cool stuff. And oh my gosh, what a great time! That was the first game I ever 100%ed. It was great.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because I'm curious and not a Kingdom Hearts expert. We've talked about other games and how they've iterated and improved on themselves. Did Kingdom Hearts 2 do that, or was it more like we've got more worlds, more characters, etc.?
They did a hell of a lot more on the second game. So in the second game they introduced these kind of almost quick time events. I forget what they were called, but at certain points you could press triangle to do like a certain, I guess, context sensitive move depending on like what you were fighting. Like certain enemies you press triangle when they're almost dead and you pick them up and throw them, or like certain boss battles it'd be like a God of War style kind of like almost QTE thing. But and then there was your like drive forms like Valor and all this shit. Like you would change it into different forms to have different abilities, and there's a lot that they improved on the second game that made it way better than the first one.
What, if you can think of something off the top of your head, what was the worst example of QuickTime events from that era?
Any game from the PS2 and all that?
Yeah. Is there anything that jumps to your mind like this is stupid?
Resident Evil 4. Holy shit. That game has too many QuickTime events. I remember there was this one, you're running away from a boulder or something, you're running away from something, and it'll be like tap X, tap X, tap X, like you'd be like tapping X, and I don't know how anybody else does it. I don't use my thumb, I use my index finger, because I tap buttons a lot faster that way. So I'm using my index finger to like tap a button, and then it'd be like, oh wait, hit the left, or hit left on the control stick, and I'd be like, shit, wait, how do I move my hand over there? And then I'd fail and die. And fuck it.
I got two things to say. One is like I've seen videos on it, and isn't like the flashing A like super intense and in your face? It's like
yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
And when I tap buttons, I have a weird technique. It's my middle finger hitting the button, but my index finger is also stretched out, and I've got my thumb pressing against my index finger, so I've got three finger force going into it.
Oh my god, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Quote me on that Twitter. Basically... I got 3 finger force going into it.
That's gonna be my next quoted Tommy quote on Twitter. Next to space is cool. I like to go so down.
My worst example, I know it's like the whole point of the game, but Heavy Rain got really ridiculous on some of them because it used the motion controls of the PlayStation controller. So it'd be like you're brushing your teeth now, move the controller left and right, and you're going like really fast, and like sometimes you wouldn't do it, and if you like fail it, if you fail it, he just takes the toothbrush out of his mouth and then puts it back, and you have to do it again, and you're like, this is breaking realism like you wouldn't believe.
A toothbrush? Hell yeah. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. I paused my mic for a second. Okay, but yeah, haven't played Heavy Rain, but I feel like I understand what you're talking about. There was one kind of like that too in Resident Evil 4. Not to quote this game yet again, but there were quite a few QuickTime events that you had to fail. But
no.
Oh, what was it? There was one where you're trying to like hang on to something and you have to tap the button really fast to hang on. And what was it?
I don't know.
No. So at one point in the game, either you or Ashley are hanging off a ledge, and if you tap A fast enough, you'll get back onto the ledge, but you're supposed to wait for the other person to come and pick you up. So you're not supposed to be able to pull yourself up. I forget, something like that.
I okay. I had something similar in Infamous where at the end you're supposed to make a choice on there's explosives on two buildings, and on the top of one building is your girlfriend, and on the top of the other building is a group of people, and you have to pick which one you want to save.
Silas.
Oh, Silas. I thought you were saying stylus the first time.
Oh,
And
oh,
I
you can
was
actually
like,
hear me? What? I thought I was muted.
no.
Oh my gosh. No, sorry.
It's so funny. No,
We
when I
could-
was saying QuickTime events, you
Maybe.
said stylus, and I was like, okay, yeah, there was some stylus QuickTime events, I bet.
Sorry. Can you hear this baby over the microphone?
Not at
Is
all. Only when you
Okay,
talk,
awesome.
but it's like super quiet.
Okay, awesome. We'll cut out the silence parts.
um, what was I saying?
It's something about explosives on a building.
Oh, yeah. There was explosives on both buildings. You had to pick if you want to save your girlfriend or the people. And I don't remember which choice I made, but I got confused about who was on what building because it was a cutscene. It didn't like zoom out to show you. So I was like, I think it's this building. And I went and saved the people. And then it showed that, or then the girlfriend blows up and dies. And I was like, but I didn't know which one I was going to do. I thought it was... So that was silly. I just want to say one thing about Heavy Rain because you've never played it before. And that was one of my favorite games when I first played it. And that was one of the first games where I read people's thoughts on the internet. And I was like, oh, is this actually a bad game? Because
Uh,
one of the first cutscenes in the game is like the main character blacks out and he wakes up, he unblacks out in the middle of the street. And he looks down at his hand. He's got an origami shape in his hand. And in all the victims, they have origami shapes too. So you're like,
Wait.
oh, it's probably him. It's not him, and it was never him, and that never gets explained. His blackouts or why he woke up with an origami thing in his hand. It was just there to lead you in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know. I remember reading a little bit about it. There was there's quite a few lists that I'll look up.
Lots of
like,
plot holes.
Yeah, plot holes and twists and stuff like that. Also, the baby's on my lap. Did you hear him giggling like a second ago?
I did, but that's okay. He's our co-host.
Okay, yep. Here's Silas. He's here.
Has he played games yet, or is he still too tiny?
He just grabs the controller and just smashes away.
That counts. So he's a Smash player.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Or Mortal Kombat, just X, and he just punches a bunch.
That's literally, he could probably beat me in a Mortal Kombat game or any fighting game.
Nice.
I think to rope us back in, adjacent to the PlayStation 2 was the GameCube, and
Oh yeah.
for me, I owned a GameCube, and thinking back on it, I don't remember a lot of games that I like super duper loved, but one of them that stuck out most to me was Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, which I know you haven't played, which is a nightmare to me.
It is. I own it. It's in my game room. I can play it, but I just haven't yet.
It's the most charming, wonderful. It's just a joy to play. There's like, I don't know, like other RPGs and JRPGs and stuff are just like big grand adventure with horrible evil enemy, and it's just nice to go on an adventure in the Mario Kingdom in an RPG style. And you meet so many fun characters and have just a fun time with your friends. There's a lady that has one of your companions has large breasts, and they make jokes about it. That's a real thing.
In a Mario game.
Yeah, in a Mario game.
Hell yeah. I had to think pretty long and hard about my pick too, because I mean, we both know that GameCube is great,
Yeah.
but if I had to pick one game from the GameCube that I love and I could play over and over and over, it's definitely Custom Robo.
I don't even know what that is.
Goddamn. Oh my gosh, I've talked about it so much, but okay, so the whole thing with Custom Robo is that everybody settles every conflict by fighting their robos basically. And basically what happens is this little like holographic coliseum will come out of nowhere, and then people will just launch their little robo cubes into there, and the combat basically is just like you're in this little coliseum, and there's all sorts of little obstacles like walls and blocks and shit that you can hide in, or not hide in, sorry, hide behind to take cover, or to like jump over and shoot your enemy or whatever. But the coolest part about the whole thing is like the name suggests, you customize your robo, and you can pick different bodies have different kind of attributes. Like there's the big dumb heavy slower ones, but they can tank more hits. There's the lighter ones that move faster. They take more damage, obviously, but yeah, they move faster. And there's all sorts of different ones, and there's different guns that have different attributes. Like you can have one that shoots in like a three-way pattern. Or like there's one that's shaped like a dragon and shoots like a stream of fire. There's another one that's shaped like a sword and it shoots out a sword, but like when you shoot out the sword, it stops for a second and then homes in on your enemies. So you can fire like 5 in a row. There'll be like a stack of like 5 blades just chilling in the air, and then they'll home in on your enemy and chase them and stab them and shit. And oh, it's great. Oh my gosh, what a game.
I'm looking at a screenshot, and I think if you had to, those things that are like you feed a bunch of people's faces into an AI and it gives you the average of those people's faces. I feel like if you put every GameCube game into that AI, this is what it would spit out. This just looks like a GameCube game. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just GameCube personified. the bright colors and the skybox, and I love it. GameCube games, I love the way they look.
Yeah, it's weird too because compared to like Smash Bros or like the GameCube games really have some of the best looking graphics and resolutions when compared to how the PlayStation 2 was. Like some games kind of looked a little shitty, but
muddy.
Custom Robo, it was muddy, but like Custom Robo had like the character animations were kind of stiff and stuff, but once again, like the actual battles, everything's so fluid and just like fast paced and just badass.
Was there ever a crossover with Chibi Robo?
I wish there was not.
Missed opportunity.
That is a big missed opportunity, god damn it. Or with Gundam or something.
Yeah, dang. Let's see. I never owned an Xbox. I don't even have a pick for it, honestly. I've barely touched an original Xbox.
I kind of had one. Like my stepbrother, whenever I went to my dad's, he had an Xbox, so we played his a good bunch. And for that, I had down Dead or Alive 3. Have you ever played any of those games before?
Nope.
Oh man, so it's a fighting game series, pretty much, but it kind of plays more like Tekken, where you can there's more freedom of movement basically, and what was cool at the time was that at certain points, or I guess at certain points during the fight, you could knock your enemy, like you basically interact with the environment in some way. Like there was a level that was just on a highway, and you could accidentally knock your opponent into like some oncoming cars, or like you could knock them out of a window and they'll like slide down a mountain, and just there was also like I remember there being a snowy level. It's like in a snowy forest or something like that, and your characters would actually like leave tracks in the snow, basically, like as if they were actually in the snow, and that was pretty cool. And oh my gosh, it was just such an awesome game.
I remember when games would first do that, and it was like ridiculous when you'd be like, you leave footsteps in the snow, and you're like, no, that's not possible. Or
oh yeah, and then there was another level that's just in a forest, and then you could, when during the fight, you could just knock your enemy into a tree and kind of stun them for a second, and just beat the shit out of them against that tree. And then there was a drunk old guy who was just constantly like moving back and forth because he was drunk as a skunk. Oh my gosh.
I know, okay, for those who don't know, Aaron actually hates Uncharted 2, but for me, when he would walk through a doorway and he would put his hand up to like, I don't know, people don't walk through doorways like that, but just seeing him do that as he goes through a doorway, or like put his hand against a wall to brace himself, I was like, oh, this is so cool.
That does sound kind of cool.
Just those small features. I love things like that. Those blow my mind more than like the 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 sphere thing in Final Fantasy X.
I like the sphere grid.
Yeah, the sphere grid. You're like you have infinite possibilities for customizing your characters. And I'm like, look, Nathan Drake touches the wall.
That's true. Oh man. Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, they leave tracks in the snow and you can hit somebody up against a tree.
It's
But then
cool.
there's
It's so cool.
and then there's The Last of Us, and it's like, hey, this game came out on 3 different PlayStation consoles. Yippee! You paid
When
$70 for this one.
the Ubisoft Division trailer when they took cover behind a car and as they walked past it they closed the car door, everyone was like, "Oh!"
they do they do that in Grand Theft Auto as well. In like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, man. Come on.
I know.
Not
Oh,
not the
man.
bad not the bad. Sorry everybody for bashing on that game, but holy cow, $70
For which one?
for The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, the remake. Yeah, that's a tough sell. Like they released a whole bunch of videos being like, here's how we improved the game and like more than just graphically and still like I don't know. I don't
You
like
just get it.
$70 games.
I'm sure I'm sure you can grab it for pretty cheap. I'm pretty sure on eBay you could get a copy on the PS4 for $20 if you already have a PS4. Like,
Or the original PS3. By the way,
that's true.
man, no, I'll send this to you afterwards. It's less video game related.
That's fine.
Uh,
Okay.
PlayStation 3. I owned a PlayStation 3, and I think the PlayStation 3 might be my most played console.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that was the I got it late high school, early college, so I had like a bunch. That was my most free time of my life. So I would just download demos and free samples of things and just buy tons and tons of games for it. And
Nice.
my heart wants me to say Red Dead Redemption, but my soul wants me to say Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. So I'm going to go with
Oh,
Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch as my favorite PlayStation 3 game. It
right, which.
earlier this week it came out on Xbox Game Pass, so I've been playing it for the first time since back then, and it just it's a game that like I don't even know how to describe it. Like this is the first game in this series, which I'm sure they're going to make another one someday, but just they hit it out of the park in so many ways. They've got Studio Ghibli making the cutscenes. They have the Tokyo whatever orchestra making the music. They just went all out in every facet, and it just comes together in this incredible world with incredible characters and a fun story that like I don't know how you do that. Like it makes me think about Octopath Traveler and how that's kind of becoming a series, but like looking at the first one, they nailed the combat and the graphical style, but the story was like really lackluster and left a lot to be desired. And just
Mhm.
Ni no Kuni just nailed everything right out of the gate. Super awesome.
I still need to finish that game. I have it on the Switch, the remastered version, but
Hmm.
I think I think I got to the point where you're going through those trials. No, yeah, I went through those trials or whatever with the different like sliding block puzzles and all that stuff, and but it was pretty fun though. I like the little monkey guy. Little monkey's my
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah. It's a monster collector too. And I will
Yep.
say I never bothered to learn the type advantages and stuff because there's like elemental types and also star chart types or something, and it's
Oh
too
my
much to keep
gosh,
track of.
man.
But
I,
such a good game.
I forgot that it came out on there first. Or no, I think it came out. Did you know that game was also on the DS
In
a while ago?
Japan, yeah,
Yep.
the actual full ass game, not just like a smaller version, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, 'cause I think it came out on that first, didn't it?
Yep,
And then the
yep.
PS3. Okay, that's right.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, I never. I mean, I currently own a PS3. Haven't played it. Haven't played a lot of PS3 at all. So, can I just skip right to the
Yeah,
Xbox
skip
360?
it.
Have you
Yep.
played a lot of the Xbox 360 or no?
I played a lot of my college roommates' Xbox 360, so I do have.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, my pick for that, I the one game that I played just an absolute shit ton on the 360 was one that I included in a lot of episodes, but I'm going to bring it up again because more people need to love it and play it, and that's Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed. God damn it.
This isn't like I have my college roommate that I mentioned. He loves that game. He says it's his favorite kart racer. So it's.
So good.
I just want you to know that you're not alone in thinking this.
There was there's one of our followers. I'm gonna shout him out. Craig Holland, I think is his name. He also I put something about that on Twitter one time. He loved it as well. Hell yeah, the game, buy it. It's only $20. It's backwards compatible on Xbox One. Buy it. You son of a bitch.
What makes it
Not
it
you,
so
but
special?
what's cool about it is just that it did the whole transforming vehicles thing before Mario Kart 8, or I guess I shouldn't say that because I don't know if it came out before Mario Kart. No, it did.
It did.
It had to
Yeah.
have because it was
Yep.
on 360, obviously. Duh. But
You're so
so it
stupid.
did the whole. I know. Yeah. God damn
Just
it.
kidding.
But no. So it did the whole transforming vehicles thing before that. But what was also really really cool is that obviously there's all sorts of different Sega characters, all sorts of different Sega themed tracks. Like obviously you have your Sonic. There's one based on like Super Monkey Ball, Samba de Amigo, and all that stuff. And I mean, it's probably not all that great for people that don't really know Sega, but I've kind of followed it a little bit, and I'm like hell yeah, like I'm gonna main Amigo, and yeah, there's different little Sega characters you can be. Like it's not just Mario stuff, like Mario Kart or
Mm-hmm.
like Diddy Kong. It's like all sorts of different little wacky characters. Like you can have Sonic, you can drive as Sonic or Danica Patrick if you wanted to, I
Everyone's
guess.
favorite Sega character.
And then there's also Ryu from or no, he was in the first game in his forklift. That's right. But yeah, he was just what was so great about it is that he was just so slick. Like it just played so well. There was no clunk to it. Like you just drifting was just buttery smooth. Like it wasn't like you hop first and then drift or anything like that, or like Need for Speed where you have to slam on the brake, like feather the brakes and then feather the gas and all this stupid shit. Like you just drive and you hold down the right trigger and boom, you're drifting, baby. That's it. That's all there is to it. And also the fact that you could mod your vehicles so your stats weren't determined by necessarily like your character and like their weight or any of the parts in your car. Each character had just like their one car, but you could select different mods to it, like speed, acceleration, balance, and stuff like that. Just
What were the power ups? Were they like just similar to Mario Kart power ups but different skinned, or did they have like unique ones?
yeah, there were some that were basically rip-offs of Mario Kart. Like instead of having the green shells, they had just a boxing glove that bounced around, and instead of the red shell, they had a homing rocket. But there was, oh man, what was there? There was, oh, I have to look it up. I totally forget, but there was, oh, what was there? I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but
No
there were
worries.
a few that were not done in like Mario Kart, Double Dash or whatever the one was around that time.
It's really interesting to me that like I would you would you agree that like Mario out of all the kart racers, Mario Kart is kind of the most basic?
That's that's true. It
Like
pretty much it's like the almost the I'd say like the Forza of kart racers.
yeah, like I'm thinking to Crash Team Racing, which is my most played game, and it had a mechanic where there was a Wumpa fruit on the track, and if you collected 10, the power ups you picked up would become like supercharged or like stronger. So instead of one rocket, you would get three, or instead of a short invincibility bubble, it would be longer. And that's just like a neat mechanic, and it just kind of feels like. I mean, Mario Kart's fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Mario Kart is bad or anything, but it just seems like they don't really iterate as much as the other ones, and that's interesting to me. Except for
That's true. I think
Double Dash, obviously had some big mechanical changes.
that's true though. I think like maybe the one thing that 8 does that other Mario Karts do are just where your vehicle transforms. You go underwater, like you go on those like zero gravity
And
little areas where you're racing on the ceiling and stuff like that. But
that never did anything for me, the anti-gravity sections, because I'm too focused on the track and the enemies around me that I didn't even feel like I was upside down or doing loop-de-loops or anything. It just felt like it felt like my tires were suddenly just hovering, and I don't know, it didn't change anything for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. You might as well have just played Double Dash.
Yeah, Double Dash.
Double Dash.
And then
But
the Nintendo Wii.
yeah, that
I didn't say my Xbox 360 pick.
Oh yeah, pick one.
How dare you try and just shove me aside? Yeah, my roommate in college had an Xbox 360, so I played a ton of games on that. We had like a set Xbox 360 hours where we would take our turns playing. And the game that he introduced me to that stuck with me the most is Mass Effect 2, the second Mass Effect game.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's I've played it recently again with the remaster that came out, and I kind of see the behind the scenes mechanics, the strings that are being pulled to make things happen. But I'm not sure why, but back then I didn't see those strings or the smoke and mirrors and things, and it just felt like this weirdly non-linear universe that you could just explore and do whatever you want in. Like, there wasn't really a difference between main storyline and side stories. It was just a big universe to explore and do things in. And that was really, really incredible back then in the late 2000s. But yeah, playing it now, I don't know why, but I just see like, oh, this is the main mission. I'm going to want to not do that until I go and do these things. And I have to do these missions to build my people up. And it's way less fun. But when I first played it, it was just such an incredible universe to explore and go around with my gang of friends.
Your posse of alien friends.
Yeah, and trying to get Liara to fall back in love with me.
No, two, okay. Yeah, two, I think I probably played the most out of
Yep.
the first three, because I'm not counting Andromeda. But, yeah, two, I think that one was where I romanced Tali, and then, wasn't that the one where you get, like, blown up at the very beginning and you get put back together by Cerberus or whatever?
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, that's just such a even that's like such a great conflict of interest right from the beginning, because for those that don't know, Cerberus is essentially just like space racist. They only want humanity to come out on top, and they don't care about anyone else. And then at the start of Mass Effect 2, they save you and bring you back to life and like give you a ship and everything, and an outfit that says Cerberus right on the front. And so you go meet your old gang, and you're like, I'm not racist. I promise you, I'm not racist.
And then they put Seth Green as your pilot for your ship.
And he does great. You can't even tell that he's Seth Green, because he just like gets into that role. He's not like a comical character by any, like he says funny lines, but he's not how you imagine Seth Green to be.
What a great game. Did you ever play any of the multiplayer on Mass Effect 3?
No, I've never played any Mass Effect multiplayer, but I've heard that it's surprisingly good.
It was, minus the whole loot box bullshit, it was surprisingly fun. Just basically a horde mode, but you have all your, like, what are they called? Are they bionic powers or psionic, or I forget what they're called?
Oh gosh, yeah, no.
Biotics.
Oh gosh, this is
Biotics.
Biotic with the T. Yes, there we go.
Yep. You didn't play as your shepherd. You played as different templates of characters who had their own different abilities and stuff like that. Like, I think the one I played was like a Vorcha Sentinel. Oh my god, I'm not gonna get into that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now we can move to the Nintendo Wii. What's your pick for the Nintendo Wii?
I didn't play a whole lot of it, honestly. I mean, if anything, I'd say Wii Sports, because that's the only one I played a lot of.
That is a good pick. That's a very good pick. Dang it, that's probably better than my pick.
Please tell me your pick.
I had a Nintendo Wii and had a ton of games for it. And again, just like thinking back, nothing like, I don't know, nothing really jumps out at me like, oh, that was a perfect game that I loved thoroughly. But one that I loved a lot was Mario Strikers Charged. and
Ooh,
the
okay.
Mario Soccer game. A lot of people swear by the GameCube one, but I've never played the GameCube one. I like the Wii one a lot. It's just like soccer but chaos, just so much chaos, and it's so fun to play. And I think the best part is it's challenging. That's something that hasn't really. I played like a little bit of the Switch one. I paid a full $60 for it, and I don't play it, but it just doesn't feel like challenging. I don't know. Like me and a friend would play the story mode, the campaign mode, and we only beat the final boss twice, even though we played like hundreds of hours of that game because it's so difficult. And it was just fun to actually have to strategize and to plan blocks and to plan positioning. Like we were,
Hell yeah.
it was like Pacific Rim where you need the two people to have their minds linked. It was like our minds were linked, where we just like say one word and or we could just see what each other was doing. And
That's cool.
every time we would score a goal, we would just hold our fists out and just do a quick fist bump. And when I played the new one with Switch, I played with my wife, and we scored a goal, and I instinctively held my fist out, and she didn't do anything, and I was like, "Can you fist bump me real quick?"
That aside, speaking of chaos, is it time for an ad break?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. Well, Tommy, what's your favorite energy drink?
It's a mix between Bang and the Mountain Dew one.
The Kickstart or
No,
the
not
good one?
Kickstart. The one with the polygonic lion on it.
Oh, got what you're talking about. Well, I want you to forget all about that. I want you to
Done.
forget all about those drinks
Gone.
and any other energy drink you've ever had in your entire life because they're nothing. Introducing Rage. It's the ultimate energy drink. It's unbridled, unabashed, unchained, uncalled for chaos in a 32-ounce can. Using a special blend of ginseng, taurine, vitamin C, B, D, B12, and vitamin R. That's right, vitamin R. Dars for Rage. Every single sip is going to nudge you closer to feeling like you need to put everyone around you in a headlock. Rage comes in 6 violent flavors. There's strawberry kiwi scissor kick, waterboard watermelon, blackberry backbreaker, orange mango manslaughter, coconut curb stomp, and public execution peach. Warning, Rage is not intended for children or women who are nursing or pregnant, unless you want them to become unstoppable engines of destruction. Get yourself a can of Rage today, but make sure you have an alibi and a damn good lawyer. Rage. All other energy drinks are as harmless as a beached seahorse.
That is a great
That's-
name for an energy drink. I almost want to see if it's real.
I hope it's not. Copyright,
Rage
copyright.
Liquid Energy.
Fuck.
Oh, yep, it's a red and white can. It's been discontinued though.
Oh, thank God. Okay. I won't see them in court.
Oh, look at Rage Inferno. It's in the bottle's in the shape of a fire extinguisher.
No, shit. What's it called? Rage Liquid Energy?
Rage Inferno.
Rage Inferno.
Caffeine strength extreme.
Oh my gosh, I need to see this.
Holy
Yep,
crap.
it is.
That's a lot of caffeine.
What? It is got a little nozzle on top like it's a
Yeah.
fire extinguisher.
I want
That's
that.
adorable. I bet it's on eBay.
Discontinued.
Shopping. Here we go. Show me that. Whatever. We'll find that later.
Isn't it wild how big energy drinks are now? Like we were there through the rise of energy drinks, and I remember as a teen being told that like these are going to be illegal soon. Like
Right.
there's no way
Oh,
that,
yeah.
like no that like I'm not even exaggerating, listeners. Like people were like these are going to be illegal soon. There's no way that the FDA will allow this. And now I'd say they're more popular than soda.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like healthier alternatives to energy drinks now. Because I remember Monster.
Yeah, true.
They've had to redo their main original flavor multiple times because it's just sometimes it's just too potent. But
Mm-hmm.
it's wild. The Red Bull's been around for what, more than 10 years now. It's been around for like 20 years. I'm pretty sure.
Did I ever tell you my story of talking to a girl in college and her telling me about Red Bull advertising?
I don't think so. No.
Such a specific thing. I was in college and sitting next to a girl, and in college, and we were talking about the advertising. I don't remember why for class, but someone mentioned, or they talked about how at like the Warped Tour or whatever, at those places, they
Yeah.
would fill garbage cans with empty cans of Red Bull so that people would be like, "Whoa, I don't know what this Red Bull is, but it sure is popular. There's garbage cans full of it." And in my
Ugh.
head, I was like, "That's really smart. That's a clever idea." And the girl next to me like leans over and she's like, "That would be so bad for the environment. I can't believe they do that." And I was like, "Yeah, totally. I can't believe that."
Oh man. Instant 360.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Warp Tour, there was the one Warp Tour I've been to. I think Monster was either a huge sponsor or something. They had this huge Monster Energy booth where you just go to it and they give you a free fucking Monster drink whenever you wanted. A
What?
free full can of Monster. They had different flavors and shit. I remember I was like, "Can I get 3?" And they were like, "Yeah, man, here you go." And I was like, I'm
Wait,
gonna die.
you could just
I'm
ask for
dying today.
3 and they'd give you 3?
Yeah,
That's insane.
great. That was back in 2012, I think, something like that.
Man, I love
Wild time.
I love that we're in an era of time right now where everyone is just experimenting with flavors. Like Mountain Dew has like a different flavor every year, and they've got different kinds. Coca-Cola's got like, this tastes like dreams. This one tastes like parties, and you're just like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Just give me a vanilla Coke, please.
I hate
Christ.
vanilla Coke.
Ugh,
I don't like vanilla anything.
what the fuck?
Vanilla ice cream's fine, but that's not. It's like
I'm gonna have to put my rage aside here. What was your next pick?
Let's see. So we talked about the PlayStation 2, Xbox 360. I guess would it be the Switch, the Nintendo Switch?
This one I didn't pick one for like modern consoles yet because they're not, for a dumb reason, because they're not totally done yet. But I could pick one for Xbox One and Switch because I've never owned a PS4.
Yeah, I can't pick for PS4 or Xbox One either. But yeah, we both own a Switch, and man, am I just like jaded? Like, I looked at all my Switch games and I was like, do I like these games? Oh, what's wrong with me? But I picked Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. It's
Ooh.
it's technically my first Legend of Zelda game, kind of. I played Link to the Past on the Game Boy, but I stopped at the Dark World. I've touched Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker, but I've never really played, like, sat down and played a Zelda until Breath of the Wild. And what a wild, fun, big, giant game. It's just fun to explore and do things in it, I guess. I don't know.
No, I mean that is absolutely a good pick because there's, I mean, it was one of those. I shouldn't say rare, but it's one of the best games where you don't have to follow the main storyline to have fun because
Yeah.
all the side shit is just as fun as the main storyline.
Are you hold on. Stop.
Okay.
Are you one of those people where in open world games, like when you are just exploring on your own, do you enjoy finding things that are just cool looking but don't actually progress your character, give you any items or anything, but it's just like a cool thing that you found? Or do you have to be like, I need something at the end of this where I'm going to feel fulfilled?
I guess I'm a little bit of the first one. Like you could give me like, no, that's hard to say. I guess it depends on the game because like with Breath of the Wild, maybe this isn't the best comparison because there's no like XP or whatever. But I guess to use a different example, say like Xenoblade Chronicles, every side quest gives you like they're short and sweet and they give you XP. But then if there's like, no, it's hard to say really. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would like for it to at least give you XP if it's a game like that. But if it's just like a game that doesn't use XP, I would like something for my trouble.
Yeah, I bounce back and forth too. Like the last time I played Legend of Zelda, I just like jumped into it to explore for, I don't even know why I did, but like I just found this. I climbed up a mountain and found a little cliff with like a bunch of
Dad, still talking to the channel.
I found a bunch of flowers around. It was just like a field with flowers and fruits, and it was a nice view, and that's it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. This was hidden, and I just found it on my own. Or Red Dead Redemption 2 did that a lot, where you could just go around and just find cool vistas, and I was like, this is great. I'm happy. And then playing Elden Ring, it just throws things at you left and right, and I'm like, I don't want any of these things. This isn't making me happy. So, yeah, I guess it just depends on the game, like you said. I was just curious your perspective.
Yeah, I guess hidden things are pretty cool though. Like if it's oh man, what is it? Like if it's like a Metroidvania kind of, you go to like a hidden spot, and it's just like here's a heart container. Like, yeah, something. Give me something for finding this secret spot.
Yeah.
I'd say my pick for Switch is probably Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like it's the one that I've put too many hours into, and I can play until the end of time. Definitely.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that being a game that people could play forever. That's yeah. I like that was my favorite Smash of all the Smashes. That's the one I got into and like understood the most. Like as a kid playing the Nintendo 64, when I just hit buttons and mashed them, or did like Pikachu's Thunder Strike over and over again.
When I had Smash Bros. Melee, I think all I ever played was Link, and it's my strategy the entire time I owned the game. Like my strategy with Link all the time was to just jump into the air, down it, and he would do his his plunging attack thing, and if they block, I'd be like, well, time to do it again.
Who would you say is your main in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
Absolutely Diddy Kong.
Ooh.
Absolutely Diddy Kong.
What do you enjoy about playing Diddy Kong?
I like that. Well, for one thing, it's really true to his character. Like say in like Donkey Kong Country, instead of doing like an attack where he just jumps on somebody and then kills them or whatever, he like does like a cartwheel. Basically he's acrobatic in Smash Bros, which is what I like. Is he has this sweet like when you run at an enemy and do your A attack, he does a sweet little cartwheel or like 3-hit combo, and then his little banana peel is just so satisfying to do sweet little combos with. Like you just pop it out and hold on to your banana peel and like jump around and then like trick your enemy and then just toss it at them, and then they slip on the banana peel obviously, and then you just try to do a smash attack real quick and just blast them into space. Oh my gosh, Diddy Kong's just so satisfying. He's just so great.
It reminds me of, at least for me, like Overwatch, where you just kind of try characters until you find one that you just connect with, and you like, yeah, you just like get that feel down. For me, that was Ike. I don't know what it is about Ike, but I just feel like I'm a better Smash player when I play as Ike. Like, he's just got, I guess, when I knock someone over the side, he's just got so much versatility on what he can do to keep people off the side, and it just feels so powerful. Like, if they try and fly over the top, up B, and I'm going to catch you. If you try and come into to grab the side, I've got to move to counter that, too. It's just, I feel like I can counter the best with him. He even has a counter move.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Diddy, too. You know, you're trying to come up over the edge. Nope. Banana peel down, or down smash in the air. Or like if you're just trying to use your up B to get back to the stage. Nope, just jump over to him, down A, plunge him into oblivion.
Yep. My I guess my last main console is my current Xbox Series X, and I think my pick for that is actually Halo Infinite.
I didn't see that coming.
I know, but just
I would have thought Yakuza.
No, Yakuza I played on PC actually. I played.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I still think I would pick Halo Infinite just because it's, granted, the multiplayer is a mess and not fun, and the updates have been slow. I'm not talking about the multiplayer at all. The actual campaign it's the Breath of the Wild of Halo, and it does so many interesting things that I think people have just forgotten about, or they didn't play, so they don't understand. And it pushes Halo forward and like into all these interesting ways, because it works as an open world game. There are forwarding bases or something, I don't remember what they're called, scattered throughout, and you go there and take them over, and then you can like call in vehicles and other soldiers to go on adventures with you, and you can like equip them with whatever weapons you want. You can just like build a crew and then go on adventures, and it's just fun to go around the world, the open world, and capturing points or finding hidden things or collecting collectibles. And you shouldn't be able to have that kind of fun in a Halo game of all things, but they
Yeah,
somehow made it work. And it's when I think of games that you can only experience on the three or the Series X, it's Halo Infinite.
that's true. Did you also jot down any picks for any handheld
Yes,
consoles like
yes, I
Game Boy
did.
and shit?
Yeah, I did.
Awesome.
Friend.
I didn't really know what to pick for Xbox One because I guess if there's any one game that I play the most on it, it's probably Smite,
Mm,
which I guess I think it was on the 360 maybe, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'd probably say Smite.
good old Smite.
Good old
I
Smite,
appreciate
that's
it
right.
from afar. It looks fun. I don't have the time to commit to it.
It's definitely pretty tough to learn, but tell me your handheld picks though already.
So, Game Boy. Um, my grandma had a Game Boy. I actually asked my mom about it yesterday. We went and visited her, and I was like, "Have you seen it yet?" Because she passed away years ago, and I want the Game Boy that
Oh,
she had, but no one can find it. But
oh man,
my pick is Tetris. The Tetris for the Game Boy. We've already talked about Tetris. It's a perfect game, and it's a perfect game for the Game Boy.
it is. I kind of included the Game Boy and Game Boy Color because they're maybe I shouldn't have, but I would say any Pokemon game really.
Yep, yep. That was my pick
Anyone
for color too.
anyone doesn't matter. You pick one for me, I'll play it.
Pokemon Gold was my pick.
Yeah. What about Game Boy Advance? Or did you have another one you wanted to go to?
No, you pick Game Boy Advance first.
Oh man, this was tough because well I played a little bit of the original Superstar Saga on Game Boy Advance, but I played it mostly on the 3DS. But for Game Boy Advance, my favorite game is Golden Sun.
Hmm.
Definitely,
What
absolutely.
what is Golden Sun?
So it's just you're so it's the turn-based RPG, of course, but basically what really sets it apart is it's almost kind of a creature collector kind of. So you'll go around the map or you go around the world or whatever, and in different dungeons and shit like that, and there are occasionally what are called Jinn. That's DJINN.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but there's four main elements to I guess the world and the Jinn. There's earth, fire, water, and wind, and I guess they're categorized as like under the planets like Venus, Mars, Mercury, and what is the wind one? Jupiter, I think. Um, but yeah, each one when you use them in battle, they'll give you different abilities. Like there was one called Granite that gave you a little defensive shield that lowered the amount of damage you take. Um, there was one for there's a fire one that just did like a big old like blazing strike at your enemy, and then um, your the Jinn you had equipped to each character dictated what kind of class they had. So like if you had just all Earth Jinn on one character, he would be like a knight. I think is what it was.
Oh,
Um, and then you could combine different numbers of a certain sorry combine different numbers of certain elements of Jinn to make different classes as well. You can make someone like a pirate, so they have a mix of like fire and water moves, I believe, or something like that. But um, what was also cool about it is that you also had different summons, like different summons that you could use in battle depending on what Jinn you had set. So like when you use a Jinn in battle, it'd be set. I'm going into a lot here. Holy shit! But yeah, different different elements of Jinn that you had set would dictate like which summons you could summon in battle because those are your main dealers of damage right there with the summons. Um, but oh my gosh, they have just a great story too because like this is the first game where it ends. Pick up off into immediately in the second game, but the second game also being on GBA. But I played the first one probably the most, and yeah, it's just really good.
sounds good. I originally couldn't think of a game but then you reminded me that I love Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and I can't believe I almost forgot about it.
I can't, but yeah, I mean, the name sounds pretty familiar, but yeah, no, it's just such an awesome game.
Yeah, I've already talked about it plenty. It's one of my top 5 favorite games of all time. So again, it's silly that I almost forgot it, but just a wonderful, again, just being able to explore a Mario world, but it was like the Bean Kingdom with Mario and Luigi. And they gave them some character, which they don't usually have, Mario and Luigi, but they had a character and like emotions and stuff. That was neat. And just the Bean Kingdom was cool. They had a great enemy. The combat was fun. Just a good old Mario adventure.
Oh, yeah, the baby's back.
Okay.
It was weird to see them give Mario. Well, I guess he's had a turn-based RPG on the Super Nintendo before, but it was cool that they. I guess he did another one. Yeah, I don't know. Just Mario RPGs are just so cool. They did something completely different than they did with the Super Nintendo one or Paper Mario. It was great. And you make 2 party members, just Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool dudes. My DS pick is again another game that I've talked about a ton. Professor Layton and the Curious Village. Love it. Great music, great story, great puzzles. Best puzzles in video games. I can't say enough good things about Professor Layton and the Curious Village.
I can't say enough about Professor Layton in general. Really, they're all super duper fun. Except, fuck the math puzzles though.
He's such a gentleman.
Puzzles for the life of me.
I love how much of a hardcore gentleman he is. Like, that's like his defining feature is like, be kind to everyone, be a gentleman. And Luke's like, I just want to mess shit up.
Be cool, and people will be cool to you.
Yeah.
For the DS, I picked Final Fantasy Tactics A2, or Advance 2. And this one, just because I'm a sucker for strategy RPGs, what's cool about it is that there's different, like, so to start things off, basically you're put in charge of this guild of adventurers, and you go on different quests, and round up more people for your guild and level them up and all that shit. But basically, like, there's different races of people in the world of this game, and each race has their own exclusive jobs. And what's cool is that, kind of like in Final Fantasy IX, they'll learn different skills depending on what equipment they have. So like certain weapons and certain armors will give them certain skills, but the skills are also exclusive to the certain classes as well too. But what's also super duper cool is that your characters, like, you'll start off with one certain job for somebody, but they'll be able to unlock more jobs the more they progress certain other jobs. So like, you'll start off with just like a white mage, but then as they master more and more white mage skills, they'll unlock the ability to be a monk. And then if you max out the monk, or I guess not max out, but if you level up the monk a little bit, basically you'll mix and match classes to unlock other classes, or jobs, I should say, because they're called jobs in that game. You basically mix and match jobs and unlock more jobs for different characters. There's basically just always something to unlock, and it's just really cool to just be in charge of this massive ass guild that just constantly grows. And there's this cool thing where, like, instead of trudging through the map, go to the next quest or side quest or whatever, you can instead just deploy people from your guild to go do that quest for you. And it's so fun. It's so great.
Mechanics.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I just can't stop playing it.
Speaking of mechanics, a handheld console that was a bit more mechanical than the DS, the PSP. I owned a PSP, and my pick for my favorite game on the PSP is Gun, a game that not many people remember, but it was the Western game before Red Dead Redemption. It's not related in any way. It's totally unrelated, but it was an open world Western game for originally the GameCube PS2 era, but it also came out on PSP, and I had it on the PSP as well as the GameCube. And it was that was my first experience with an open world Western game, and I was like, this is such a fun time era to explore and to experience and to ride a horse around in and to be a good guy and stuff. And Red Dead Redemption completely overshadowed it and blew it out of the water, which is understandable. Yeah. It was made by Rockstar, but Gun did it first, and I really appreciate everything that they did, and it was fun to play on PSP. And if this Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard goes through, they will own the rights to the Gun series, and they could make a sequel. So just throwing that out into the world for people to know.
That's true. Maybe they might. Who knows?
Yeah,
they brought back Battletoads. They might bring back.
Kidding.
Might bring back Gun. I do own a PSP, but I haven't played enough of it to say what my favorite game is for it. Unfortunately, I didn't own one back in the day either. But
good, because I was hoping you'd be our 3DS person.
Hell yeah, that was my last pick actually. Yep. 3DS. The one that I put absolutely the most time into, and that I can play until the day I die, is Yokai Watch 3, baby. It's just too good. There's so much to do. I mean, obviously there's a shit ton to the story, and then the real meat of the game, like in Pokemon, the real meat of the game is post story. After you beat the story, that's when all the cool shit unlocks. You can do different. I guess you'd call them, well, not necessarily a raid, but you could do different, like, boss battles and try to find all these other legendary yokai. And, it's great. I love Yokai Watch, especially the third game. That's why I picked it.
I'm glad that you loved it, because I don't have a pick for the 3DS, even though I owned it. I looked up a top 25 best 3DS game list, and I was like, I haven't played any of these, or I didn't like the game. I did not enjoy my time with my 3DS. Which I know
is wild.
I know it's crazy, but I don't know. Nothing ever stuck with me.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, that's what video games are for. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Are you calling the 3DS trash? I'm just kidding.
So yeah, if I would love for people to comment and tell us what their favorite games on each system are, because as you can see by just me and you, it varies wildly. And that's the best part about video games. So leave a comment on Twitter at Super Pod Saga. Send us an email, superpodsaga@gmail.com. Instagram, Super Pod Saga. Leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can find us.
That's true. They can also leave reviews directly on our website as well, too, because you can, on the new website, I'm not entirely sure what the link is for it, but yeah, on our website, I guess it's on our Twitter and all. I put it on all of our social media shit, but if you go to the website, you can listen to all of our episodes directly from there and leave reviews directly on there and submit a request to be a guest on our show all through the website.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be fine having anyone a guest. I love hearing people's, even if you don't think you're special, you are special. You have video game experiences that we don't have, and I love hearing those.
Hell yeah. We'll bring you on and we'll discuss your favorite, whatever it is we're talking about at the time.
Yeah. What are me and you and I, us, what are we gonna talk about next week?
I think we should. It's been a while since we talked about a specific console. It's been since episode 1, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think we should talk about the wild ass times of the PS1. How's that sound? That
sounds great. I would love to, because I have things to say.
Awesome. There's a lot I need to say about the PS1, because that was truly a wacky time.
Oh man, I've got so many memories flooding in. I gotta write these down. We gotta stop recording.
All right. Look forward to next time, everybody.
Okay, bye everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.